Hello and welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by today. In case you don't know me, my name is Barrister Mrs. Chinemere Mweke. I'm a lawyer and my practice areas are family law, trusts and estates, as well as property law. So for today is the 21st day of May 2020 in the year of coronavirus. So yes, everything that almost everybody talks about today is coronavirus, amongst the government, amongst the TV channels, amongst professionals. Everybody really is talking about coronavirus, how coronavirus is now the new normal, how coronavirus has changed the face of how we live, how we eat, how we work, how we you know. But there are some things that never change, and there are some things, it's not like they don't change, that's not the right word, but there are some things that have been before coronavirus that are still with us here, and coronavirus hasn't, all of a sudden made it become non-existent. Yes, so that's why I'm here to remind us of on one of those issues that are so much relevant and still concerns all of us today, and that is the issue of domestic violence. So yes, so that is the issue of domestic violence in Nigeria, basically, because we say coronavirus is a pandemic. Oh, it's this huge pandemic that put the world to a stop. But there are other pandemics that are not no less important, like this domestic violence. It is a pandemic that has been with us for as long as man has existed, and as much as we are trying to find the cure for coronavirus, let us not forget that domestic violence is a pandemic and we must fight it. So now today I will be talking about domestic violence in Nigeria amongst married couples, and not just married couples really, because this domestic violence, it doesn't happen just between married couples. Even partners that are in relationships, girlfriend and boyfriend, it happens. It permeates every types of relationship between man and woman, really. So for today I'm talking of domestic violence. Today is just like an introduction, because domestic violence is really a large topic, so I'm not going to be blowing up your head with all the issues of domestic violence. I just want to touch on domestic violence, really just touch on it. Just let us just be aware that domestic violence still exists, and that it comes in different ways. It comes in the form of physical violence. It also comes in the form of emotional violence, as well as sexual violence. Now, in Nigeria, what is most known as domestic violence is physical violence. And sometimes we tend to see other forms of violence in relationships as though it's not really, a violence. That's sexual violence and emotional violence, or we tend to grade them as a lesser form of violence that we shouldn't be worried about. But the truth of the matter is this, that those violence are no less in severity than physical violence. I'll give you an instance. Physical violence, as the word connotes, physical, like beating and punching and kicking and other physical stuff. That's physical violence. Now, emotional violence, it usually comes in form of verbal abuse, use of words, comes in form of mind game. It comes in form of isolating your partner from things that she normally would do that normally gives her joy, but because you don't want her to do that, for instance, meeting her family, meeting her friends, going out to work, those are all forms of emotional abuse. And I tell you that they are no less in severity, because you find out that those people, that the scar that violence creates stays with them for a very long time, a very really long time, you know and it affects them and affects everything about them. It affects their self-esteem, it affects even their ability to make money, it affects the way they see themselves, they view themselves, it affects their relationship with the world, and sometimes some of them even contemplate suicide. So yes, it's no less in severity. And then another one again is sexual violence. And Nigerians, we usually don't believe that between partners in relationships, between married couples, that it doesn't exist, that there is no such thing as sex, but there is something as sexual violence. For instance, if a man goes out to drink and comes in and in all of his drunkenness and all of his unconsciousness, seeks to have sexual relations with the wife, and the wife may feel like, no, I don't want this in this your state, and he goes on to force himself on the wife, that's really sexual violence, really. For instance, a man that has cheated on his wife, and the woman knows that, I don't know what this man is carrying, I don't want him, and then the man comes and says, I must sleep with you whether you like it or not, and the woman gives in by force, by look or whatever. That's sexual violence between partners in relations, between married couples, between boyfriend and girlfriends. So for today, I'm just here to just remind us again that this domestic violence exists, and that let us all search ourselves. If you're a man, if you're a woman, it is not left for any particular gender as far as domestic violence is concerned. It happens both ways, but we all know that as far as Nigeria is concerned, violence are much more perpetrated against women. But let us all search ourselves today and know where we fall in, and know that wherever you fall in, let us all just search ourselves and still know that domestic violence exists in different ways, and let us be aware of that. And if we fall into any category, let us try and mend our ways, because whatever violence that you perpetrate against anybody, it has a lasting effect, right? So this is just like an introduction to domestic violence. In the next episodes that would come, we'll dive in into the domestic violence, different categories of domestic violence. How do you even know that you're going through domestic violence? What can you do when you are violated within your home? What are the resources that are there for you? How can you access those resources? How can you get help for yourself? Or are you stuck forever? So in the episodes to come, that is all we're going to be discussing about. So stay tuned and stay alert. So for now, bye, do take care and stay safe.